All right, Mr. Price.
Thank you, Mr. President. Out of an abundance of caution, I am recusing myself from item 4 because my wife's employer has worked with an organization on this item in the past.
All right.
My name is Brian Jointer. I am a youth organizer in South Los Angeles. The last time I was here, I spoke about an incident where I was stopped by LAPD officers with my sons in a car, and the car was searched. They found nothing, and they completely humiliated me and my 2 sons. I'm here because these pretextual stops have become out of hand. The 14th Amendment gives us equal protection under the law. As people of color, we don't feel that protection. Now, these pretextual stops are said to have been claimed to stop crime and to be able to conduct stops, and which leads to other, which leads to other crimes. Well, that in itself lets you know that these stops are.
I would like to submit the documents that I have today for case reference number 256109, civil rights case. And these documents that I have, I'd just like to give them to the council today for review. We're asking the city council to remove a protective order to unseal records in our case. And these are the documents I'd like to send to the council to review, to have that done for us. Thank you.
I'd like to speak on stop the stops.
Okay, so, and this is for everybody.
Item
So
5.
that's item 5.
Yes.
Do you also want general public comment or just item 5?
Item 5.
Okay, so you have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes, first of all, I think we came a long way the last couple of years, but now I'm starting to see these stops more frequently. And it's more like, seem like it's more for intimidation. And I have a fear for my son because he is a licensed gun operator. So they get more stopped more than anything. And the fear that is setting in our community is setting us back from about 5 to 10 years ago. And so my concern is like, where are we going from here? Well, no, I thought we all supposed to be working together to make sure we're safe in these communities, that our kids can drive safely in these communities, but now it seems like we're going backwards. And the fear is setting in that they being more deliberate in these stops. Even with myself, I got pulled over like 2 weeks ago, and they didn't treat me like I was a community member. I'm a homeowner, business owner, and all that, and I've been in that community for over 50 years, but now it seems like the intimidation is like it's gonna be us against them again. So I'm kind of concerned about where they're going with this, and I wish it to stop, like now.
Hi, my name is Sherry. I'm a UCLA student, and I'm here to urge the LA City Council to ban pretextual stops. As a student and a resident of LA, I want to live in a city that prioritizes fairness, transparency. As a UCLA student, I've seen my peers be stopped by police for minor infractions that, and I think that it's unfair. And I think research has also shown that pretextual stops rarely lead to serious crime prevention, and yet they expose thousands of LA citizens to unnecessary and oftentimes invasive encounters with law enforcement that disproportionately impact our Black and brown communities. Banning pretextual stops would be a meaningful step towards reducing bias and racist policing and restoring trust between communities and institutions that are meant to serve them. I urge the council to vote yes to ban pretextual stops and invest in equity and care-centered approaches to traffic safety. Thank you.
Good morning, council. My name is Jose Marino. I'm a student at UCLA and a resident of District Council 5. I'm in support of Push LA Coalition's efforts to ban pretextual stops in the city of Los Angeles. Alternatives to traffic safety will make the city safer. As a person of color, I understand like most people that pretextual stops lead to nothing. The data shows that. I'm aware of other states throughout the country have taken efforts to decrease the number of pretextual stops. I would rather much have our community and government officials invest in resources that are surveillance-free, invest in public transportation, invest in housing infrastructure that will actually yield results for our communities. For the above reasons, I respectfully request that the council vote yes to ban pretextual stops and invest in equity and care-centered approaches to traffic safety. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Javier Nunez Verdugo. I am a UCLA student, but I also am a long-lived resident here of East Los Angeles, City District 14. I'm also here to publicly comment on passing the denouncement of pretextual stops. As, again, a longtime resident of LA, as someone who has family in different parts of Los Angeles, including South LA and South Central, I've seen the direct impacts that these pretextual stops have on our community members, on students, on minors who are being stopped by police unlawfully, unfairly, just on the basis of racialized bias. And with the short amount of time I have, I just want to uplift the demands of the Push LA Coalition to ban these pretextual stops, invest in equity in our communities, and to let our students be safe in the communities that they live in. Thank you.
Mi nombre es María Juárez y yo vivo en la Wilshire y la Vermont, el Distrito
And
10.
Before we continue, can I ask the interpreters, can you ask the speaker what items she'd like to speak to?
Yes, City Attorney. Disculpe, señora, ¿de qué artículo quiere hablar el día de
En
hoy?
contra de las paradas de la policía y a mí no me ha pasado
Ok,
mis
un segundo, señora.
gentes
Un segundo,
que
señora.
los paran
Señora,
y-
señora, un segundo, por favor. She's here to speak about number 5.
Okay, so you have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Tiene un minuto.
¿Ya? Sí, a mí no me ha parado, pero sí otras personas han parado. Una señora la pararon después del carro, ¿verdad? Y no había hecho nada de fracción y nada más lo paró y nada más miró que, pues me imagino lo checan en el carro y no la quiso dejar manejar y dejaron el carro allí. Y eso a mí no me ha pasado, varias han pasado, eso estoy en contra.
Hi, my name is Maria Juarez. I live on Wilshire, Vermont, and I'm from District 10. So these traffic stops haven't happened to me, but I have seen them happen to other people, including I saw it happen to one woman where she was stopped, her car was searched for no reason, and she was not allowed to continue driving, and the car was just left there. So that's why I'm here to speak on this, because I want this to stop. Thank you.
Mi nombre es Edith Navarro. Soy trabajadora de comida rápida. Estoy aquí para el comentario público acerca de la ordenanza de los trabajadores de comida rápida.
Hi, my name is Edina Navarro, and I'm a fast food worker, and I'm here to talk about the Fair Work Ordinance for fast food workers. Adelante.
Demasiados trabajadores no conocen sus derechos laborales. Nuestros empleadores se aprovechan de esto.
There are too many workers that are unaware of their labor rights, and the employers take advantage of this.
En mi caso, yo tuve que visitar a emergencias por un dolor de rodilla.
In my case, I had to end up in emergency care because of a pain in my knee.
Al yo entregarles el certificado de que estoy fuera de trabajo por 4 días, ellos me forzaban a ir.
Even when I gave them the notice that I would be out of work for 4 days, they forced me to go.
Asimismo, ellos, al ver que no me presenté a trabajar, decidieron trasladarme a otra tienda.
Seeing as I wasn't going, they decided that they would move me to a different store.
En la cual de 40 horas que yo trabajaba, me bajaron a 12 horas, siendo asistente de manager.
And in which case I was moved from my 40 hours to 12 hours, even though I'm assistant manager.
La distancia que a mí me tomaba llegar al otro trabajo, al otro restaurante de Carl's Jr., eran aproximadamente 2 horas y media de trabajo.
And the distance that it took me to get to this other Carl's Jr. was approximately 2.5 hours.
Good morning, Council President, Council members. My name is Twyla Peters. I am the Vice President of Empowerment Congress Southeast Neighborhood Council. I'm also a community advocate, as well as a concerned parent of a young Black male. Today I stand here because many Black and brown families across Los Angeles are tired of living in fear over something as simple as a traffic stop. The recent incident involving our president of City Council brought attention to an issue that my community has been dealing with for many years. For some, it was shocking, and for my community, it was familiar. Again, many black and brown drivers are pulled over every day for minor infractions, and too often it turns into something much larger. If someone has an expired registration, then issue that citation. But minor infractions should not become a fishing expedition or a traumatic incident. Our community deserves transparency. We deserve accountability, dignity, and respect. And this is why we are calling for meaningful policy reform. We're asking for clear limits on discretionary pretextual stops, stronger accountability and oversight, and better data collection and transparency. Policies that protect civil rights while maintaining public safety. Now, this is not an attack against law enforcement by any way. This is about building trust, protecting communities, and ensuring fairness for everyone, because what starts as something minor should not end in trauma, injury, or tragedy. Thank you.
Thank you. That's better.
And in 2024, I was driving home after a late night shift. While traveling on Western and Century, officers from Los Angeles Police Department pulled me over. They first asked me if I had any tattoos or if I was in a gang. When I asked why I had been stopped, they stated that my vehicle registration tags were expired. I responded that expired tags alone should not be a reason for the stop. The officers then told me to stop being a smartass, remove me from my vehicle, and detain me behind their patrol car. They proceeded to search my vehicle without my consent. After the search, they released me without issuing a citation or making an arrest. Since that incident, I have experienced lingering trauma from the encounter. At times, I feel anxiety when law enforcement vehicles are behind me while driving. I shouldn't have to feel trauma or anxiety when I come across law enforcement. The motto is to protect and serve. It doesn't feel like they protect and serve at all. It feels like we're being targeted in our own communities.
Public comments were designed to be heard by the public as well as representatives, so I hope everyone is listening. I've heard hundreds of people here complain about extreme misconduct by public officials, including police and prosecutors, yet no one else is pressing for a military-level investigation of public misconduct. There is one somewhat legitimate excuse for refusing to make this no-cost request. It's if you are being extorted. I do believe that the crime of extortion is rampant, since by its nature it is seldom reported. That's the reason the military is the appropriate body to investigate extreme misconduct. They're set up to be insulated from extortion threats. If any other members of the public or government is unwilling to press for a military-level criminal investigation, I have to assume it's because they don't want to solve the problem.
Yo vengo, estoy a contra de las paradas que nos paran a nosotros, y como tengo miedo que me agarren a mí también, y soy trabajador, soy jardinero, y tengo miedo que me pase eso. Pero nunca me ha
Hello, good
pasado
morning.
eso.
I'm also here
Es
to
todo.
speak against the traffic stops.
Gracias.
I'm scared of being detained, and I work as a landscaper.
Sir, hold on.
Señor, por favor.
Está haciendo traducción. So usted habla y luego le van a hacer traducción. Ahorita está terminando la traducción y luego otra vez va a poder hablar, ¿ok? Espérese un segundo.
Good morning. I'm here to speak against the traffic stops. I am also scared of being detained. I work as a gardener. Siga adelante, señor, por favor.
Sí. Buenos días. Me llamo Refugio García y yo estoy a contra de las paradas que nos están haciendo. Y como yo soy trabajador de jardinería y tengo miedo que me detengan, pero nunca me ha pasado eso.
Good morning.
Es todo.
My name is Refugio Garcia, and I'm here to speak about the traffic stops. I am also scared of being detained. I work as a gardener. It hasn't happened to me yet. That is all.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Good morning. My name is Khalil Hayes, and I'm with the Brotherhood Crusade. Thank you for just taking the time to hear me out. Really, it's about my story and my experience about what I've dealt with. I remember when I was 18, me and my mother, we were leaving from the hospital, Kaiser, right by West LA Cadillac. And the first thing that we hear were sirens, not even a mile away. And they pulled us over. The first thing I could think of and the first thing I could really recognize was my hands were on the dashboard as more of an instinct than more of anything of survival. So being in that type of situation, I was scared for my life and I didn't know what to do. And I felt the aggressiveness of the enforcement that were right there. It was more of anything that I just wanted to try and find a way to realize, am I going to be the next person on a t-shirt, or am I just going to be able to see out another day with my mother? So it's more about how can we find a way to push a narrative to bring trust and bring a bridge to people in law enforcement? How can we find a way to be more influent and even more educated?
General?
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. So you still have your minute for general public comment if you want.
I'll speak for the rest.
Go ahead.
Like I said, it's more about how can we be even more educated on this, because right now, miseducation is one of the biggest problems within this area and within this confrontation. And how can we find a way to be safer? That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Muchas gracias. Mi nombre es Irma Chaidez y vengo de West Adams. Represento el Distrito 8. Estoy aquí.
Hello,
hoy
good morning. My
pidiendo
name is
que
Irma
el-
Chaidez, and I come from West Adams representing the 8th District.
Estoy aquí hoy pidiendo que el Consejo Municipal vote para prohibir paradas de tráfico presentando en Los Ángeles.
I'm here to ask for the council members to vote against the traffic stops.
Gracias. ¿Por qué estoy aquí? Porque un familiar mío lo agarró también igual la policía y pues en vez se los agarran también por su color de piel. Pues yo lo veo yo como una parte racial en contra de las personas que son de color, ¿verdad? Y
I'm here to ask, excuse me, one of my family members was detained, and I believe it was due to their skin color. I do see it as a racial motive.
Gracias. Pues por eso estoy en contra del actor racial para paradas injustas por color y pues los colores racial, ¿verdad? De la familia. Quiero decir algo. En
Perdón,
veces no
por favor, un
solamente
segundo, señora.
el que va manejando. ya
Señora,
se
un
lleva-
segundo, por favor, pause. I'm here against these unjust traffic stops just only due to the color of our skin. Adelante.
Gracias. Quiero decir algo, en veces no solamente va el chofer manejando, sino que también en veces llevan a la esposa, a los hijos o más familia que no tienen documentos.
And it's also not always just the driver. It's sometimes the wives and children that are in the car that are undocumented.
All right. Thank you. Speaker, your time has expired.
Gracias, venció su tiempo.
Gracias. La salud mental es bien importante para nuestra familia.
Thank you. Mental health is so important to our families.
Buenos días a todos. Aquí soy representante del Distrito 1 y ese es el número 5. Y es
Good
un
morning,
comentario
everyone.
público.
I am here representing District 1, and I'd like to speak on items number 5 and as well as general public comment.
Estoy aquí hoy pidiendo que el Consejo Municipal vote a prohibir las paradas de tráficos.
I'm here today to ask the council to vote against the traffic stops.
Con en cualquier pretexto, solo porque ellos son policía, nos hacen discriminación.
With whatever pretext, only just because they are police, they discriminate against us.
Con todos nosotros como latinos, nos hacen parar solo por parar. Gracias.
All of us as Latinos, they make us stop just for the reason to stop. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Elmer Roldan. I'm a resident of Council District 9. I also served on the LA City Traffic Enforcement Alternatives Advisory Task Force. The city convened this task force in 2022, and they entrusted us with making recommendations to the council. And the recommendations that we made were for us to end police stops for minor traffic infractions They are extremely harmful to the residents of this city. They are racially biased, and they do not make our cities safer. I've lived through the stops myself through my 20s and early 30s when I was often pulled over simply for being brown, for being bald, and for being poor. I would get pulled over, often handcuffed at gunpoint in front of my 2 sons. And what this caused was great financial harm to us. It made me spend thousands of dollars on tickets, taking money out of my pocket and food out of my children's mouths. These experiences left me feeling angry, disrespected, and eroded the trust in our city and our police department. Ending pretextual stops saves lives and money. In the 24-25 fiscal year alone, LAPD wasted $77.4 million stopping poor people on our streets. These are dollars that should be spent on youth development, on workforce and economic development, and desperately needed city services that we know the residents of Los Angeles are waiting for. So City Council, I call on you today to do what is right, implement the recommendations of the task force, and end pretextual stops. Thank you.
Buenos días, concejales. Mi nombre es Andrea López y vivo en Los Ángeles, California. Pertenecemos al Distrito 1. Estoy aquí pidiéndoles a todos que voten para prohibir paradas de tráfico con pretexto aquí en Los Ángeles. No nada más por mi color me vayan a parar, porque es importante. Llevo a mis hijas a la escuela, voy al trabajo y no puedo andar con miedo. No podemos andar con miedo nada más por mi color.
Señora, un segundo, por favor. Good morning, council members. My name is Andrea Lopez. I am a resident of Los Angeles, representing District Number 1. I am here to ask you to stop the unlawful traffic stops. I do take my kids to school, and we cannot live in fear of being stopped just due to the color of our skin.
Llevo a mis hijos en el carro, voy manejando bien y no es posible solamente por el abuso de poder, por ser policías, me paren.
I take my kids to school, and even though I drive well, it's not possible or fair that just because I'm driving, because of the abuse of police officials, that I'm stopped.
Concejales, por favor, les pido, voten no a esa propuesta. Gracias.
Council members, I'm asking you please vote no on that proposition. Thank you.
My name is Zaida Rodriguez. I'm with Advocates for Peace and Urban Unity. I'm a case manager. I'm a community member.
Can we pause her time? I'm sorry, Speaker. Can you just move a little closer to the microphone? I want to make sure we can hear what you're saying. Sorry, go ahead.
My name is Zaida Rodriguez. I'm with Advocates for Peace and Urban Unity. I am a case manager and I am a community member. I would like to speak on traffic stopping, starting with my son having problems, him coming home, being stopped by the police. We live in the Figueroa corridor, right on 104th and Figueroa. He's constantly being stopped by the police, thinking that he's a John, or he's out there having these young ladies, having them sex trafficking, that my neighbors have to come out and knock on my door to let me know that the police have him outside and all he's trying to do is come home. He looks like a teenager. He's a 30-year-old. I don't feel that it's fair that we have to continue to deal with that. The stopping has to stop. I'm not sure how you guys could figure it out for community members. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Okay. My name is Howard Young, and I work for Chapter 2, The Grid. We have a homicide in about 3-4 weeks now, and that's the lowest in a long time. So what my colleagues and we are doing, we saving the city of Los Angeles much money. And let me go to the other album. When I was coming up, I remember the police used to give us baseball cards, and we had more of a respect for them. But now I fear them because, not for me, for my kids, and for the black and brown community. Don't stereotype me because I got a bald head or something of that nature. If I got a ticket, give me my ticket. Don't make it to a criminal investigation. You dig what I'm saying? When I think I got to get a lawyer, I'm fearing for my son. My son raised up over there. We own our house. We pay taxes. So now I'm fearing for my son. My son can lose his life because he wears dreads, and he an athlete. He play football. But only thing I'm saying, telling the law enforcement, let's break this. We got a broken system here. Let's make it better. And how
General?
we do that, let's start getting involved with these youngsters again. Start getting our baseball cards. I understand it's the money involved. But you know what I'm saying? The police, when I was coming up, is to give baseball cards out so you have more respect for the law enforcement. So you got these black and browns, you got these dudes scared out here. So we gotta fix this system. And on how we can do it as people, we gotta do it. I mean, y'all with me? Well, let's get it going. You have a good day.
Celi Celestino del Distrito 8.
Hello, good morning. My name is Celi Celestino, and I am from the 8th District.
Estoy en contra de las paradas raciales porque son discriminatorias para la comunidad.
I am against the racial stops because they are discriminatory to our community.
La policía de Los Ángeles desperdicia significativamente más dinero público en las paradas con pretexto que el presupuesto entero del departamento crítico de la ciudad, que incluyen el Departamento de Desarrollo Juvenil y Derechos Humanos y Equidad.
LAPD wastes a lot of public money and funds in the budget a lot of public funds, more than in the entire budget that should be including youth development and human rights.
Es todo, gracias.
That's all, thank you.
Mi nombre es Verónica, vivo en la ciudad de Los Ángeles.
My name is Veronica and I live in the city of Los Angeles.
El punto de mis calles es West Adams. 90018 es mi código postal. Estoy con el distrito 8.
I live in West Adams. My zip code is 90018 and I live in the 8th district.
Estoy aquí hoy pidiendo que el Consejo Municipal vote para prohibir las paradas injustificadas y sin razón alguna.
I'm here to ask the council to vote against unjustified and unreasonable traffic stops.
Solo por nuestra apariencia, por nuestro color, es algo terrorífico lo que nuestras familias están viviendo afuera, en las calles. Parar el racismo, eso es lo único que pedimos la población, las madres, los padres de familia. Para ustedes mismos afuera se está viviendo algo muy triste.
We're simply here asking for you to please stop these traffic stops that we are experiencing on the streets in fear, mothers, fathers, families.
Gracias.
Y represento aquí a mi comunidad.
Hi, my name is Monica de los Santos, and I'm here to talk about Article number 5. I am a grandmother, a mother, and I am here to represent my community.
Sí. Estoy aquí porque quiero que el Consejo Municipal vote no para la medida 5, ¿verdad? Porque esa está afectando a nuestras familias.
And I would like the council to please put an end to the pretextual stops because this is affecting our families.
Y porque somos siendo atacados nada más por por ser latinos y también por nuestra apariencia, ¿verdad? Y también no nada más somos nosotros, sino también los afroamericanos están siendo atacados injustamente.
Because we are being attacked unjustly simply for being Latinos, simply for our appearance, and it's not just us. African American people are also suffering these attacks.
Y eso es por eso que estoy aquí, para exigir que voten a favor de nosotros, ¿verdad? Para que ya no seamos atacados. Pues yo temo por mi familia, por mis hijas, mis yernos, que son los que manejan, y que vayan a ser parados y tratados injustamente, porque eso es lo que se mira. Cuando los detienen, no nada más, no tienen el respeto que se merecen. Gracias.
And that is why I'm here. I am here because I would like you guys to vote for the community. I am here because I am afraid for the safety of our community. I worry about my daughters. I worry about my son-in-laws who are driving, because when they are detained, they are not treated with the respect that they deserve. That's what we see. So thank you very much.
My name is Kasima Thomas. I am a proud South Central resident, born and raised. When you look at me, what do you see? Do you see a dad? Do you see someone who has integrity? Do you see a community organizer, or do you see a criminal? A few years ago, I was pulled over and an officer wrote a ticket but never gave me the ticket. And so when I went later to get my youth record expunged, a barrier was created for me. And if it wasn't for the resources I had, I would still be fighting to try to get that taken care of. Pretextual stops are an extension of the fit the description, posing safety risks to our communities. They instill fear and lead to death by those who are supposed to serve us. You cannot serve a community from the end of a barrel, causing fear and emotional instability. You cannot protect a community where your presence breeds hopelessness and uncertainty.
Your time has expired, but, and this goes for, I'm going to remind everybody, if you'd like, you can speak, if you are here for item 5, you can speak to item 5. You can also request general public comment. I apologize for interrupting. We need to, under the council rules, and in accordance with state law and the Brown Act, we do need to treat everybody equally. So are you also requesting general public comment as well?
Yeah, so I can finish my statement,
so
it would be great.
1 minute, go ahead.
Yes, and so so the end of my statement is just, you cannot protect a community where presence breeds hopelessness and uncertainty. Justice demands courage, and everyone is here today asking for you to step into your courage. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Erica Rodriguez, and I'm here today to speak in favor of ending pretextual stops. This policy continues to disproportionately harm Black and Brown communities under the pretense of enhancing public safety. Earlier this year, a close family member of mine was pulled over on the freeway during peak traffic hour. As they recall, the officer justified the stop by citing a lack of permit, something that could not have been known prior to them pulling them over. This experience created significant stress and fear for everyone in the vehicle. The workers felt targeted for simply transporting items, and the situation was especially frightening given that it occurred during the peak of the ICE raids, when many families were already fearing for their safety in this country. Pretextual stops do not make our communities safer, they make them more vulnerable. I urge you to vote to end pretextual stops. Thank you for your time.
Obviously, I'm in favor of stopping pretextual stops. I would say that I appreciate the people that voted for this to be on the agenda. Lee, I don't know why you wouldn't have voted for this. I want to encourage you guys to start, because I can't think of a better word, punishing LAPD for doing these things. And you might think, what can we do? You can stop approving everything that the Los Angeles Police Foundation donates to them. You guys vote for $2.1 million worth of drones. Jurado didn't, thank you. Hernandez didn't. Soto and Rahman voted for it. Everybody else voted for millions of dollars for drones that are run by Skydio, which is funded by 2 billionaires that work with Trump, and they were this $2.1 million are connected to the big beautiful bill. I don't know if you guys have done the research. Going to general public comment now. It's just, you guys can punish them by not approving everything that the Los Angeles Police Foundation donates, and you guys just continuously do. The second thing is June 6th is about to start, I'm sorry, I'm nervous, I haven't done this in a long time. June 6th is coming up. That is the anniversary for me when ICE came to LA, attacked people in Fashion District, and started chaos. Trump sent the Marines to Los Angeles. So I encourage you guys to fucking remember this and create an event. It's gonna be on a Saturday. You guys should spearhead an event to say that Los Angeles is not gonna stop fighting for the people. And we need leaders to be the fighters. We are protesters, but you guys have some more power than, and you guys are not using it in the way you guys can. Anyway, thank you, bye.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning, council members. My name is Yolanda Davis Overstreet. I'm the founder of Biking While Black, which is a mobility justice nonprofit effort here in Los Angeles and throughout the nation. I also served on the City of Los Angeles Traffic Violence Task Force. I'm here today to support stopping LAPD pretextual stops because Black and brown communities should not have to live under the constant surveillance, fear, humiliation, and financial punishment for minor infractions that are all too often a gateway to profiling. As someone who has spent years in communities across Los Angeles walking, bicycling, organizing, and listening, I can tell you that these stops do not build trust, safety, or well-being. They create trauma, fear, stress, and disconnection for public space.
Thank you, Speaker. Your time has expired.
So SCOPE is a racial, economic, and environmental justice organization based in South LA that builds Black and brown power. On April 29th, SCOPE actually partnered with community ally organizations to commemorate the 1992 civil uprising. And we all know the events leading up to the uprising were in large part related to harm caused by law enforcement on our communities. We also know from research that stops by law enforcement result in a disproportionate amount of force on Black and brown drivers. I worked a decade plus in the state legislature, working for 2 assembly speakers and a budget chair, where I was able to help pass AB 953, which requires data and analysis of law enforcement stops. Some of you voted for that measure to amplify powerful anecdotal experiences with concrete data. According to that data, while Black drivers are stopped more often, the low rate of contraband discovery shows that stops are not warranted. However, outcomes from across the state and countries that have ended pretext stops shows that the results are greater community safety, less traffic accidents, and less fatalities. Therefore, I'd like to implore council to end pretext stops and reduce harm on Black and brown communities.
General?
All right, good morning, council members and community. My name is Greg Perez, and I'm a resident and educator in South LA, Council District 8. I'm here today because just regarding the pretextual stops, this is a moment that calls us to start reflecting as who we are as a city and who we want to become. I know that often I always hear that Los Angeles is one of the most diverse cities in the world, and we always pride ourselves on resilience, compassion, opportunity, and justice. We speak often about belonging, equity. We're seeing that so much, but the values that we hold as a city, they're not measured by performative slogans or statements. They are measured by the experiences our community, youth, and working class experience every single day. And that's why we must confront the reality of pretextual stops. For many families, especially Black and brown families, these stops are not minor interactions. They're moments of fear and humiliation. I remember years ago when I was 12 years old, I used to ride with my older brother. And if you grew up in the 90s or early 2000s, it was common for us. I'm a dark-skinned Latino male, and I had my head shaved. And I remember getting pulled over with him and put in the back of a police car, and just we were already assumed that we were of suspicion just because of my haircut and my skin color. As I look back, no child should ever grow up believing that fear is a normal part of existing in their own city. If we truly believe in public safety, then public safety must include dignity, it must include trust. So just today, I just stand here to ensure that you represent the community, and based on what I'm hearing from everybody, the community has spoken, so there should not be much more to decide. Thank you.
I grew up in Los Angeles, so I'm 65 years old today, and my entire life has been spent here in Los Angeles. I can't tell you how important it is to recognize that tone starts everything. And very often with these traffic stops, the tone is not that we are citizens, the tone is not that we are contributing members. And sometimes people who are non-Black or non-Hispanic feel like these comments or these hearings are things that are non-consequential, but that's because you don't have this experience. You're not in these bodies. From the time I was a teenager, able to drive, I was an athlete, and I would go down to Dockweiler Beach and run from Dockweiler to Santa Monica and back, and then get in the car. The moment I got in the car and took off going from Westchester back to Inglewood, I would get stopped. And it didn't happen once or twice, it happened all the time. I was a deputy sheriff, and I was going to look at a house in a neighborhood that some didn't think I should be looking in. I got stopped and told, put my hands on the hood of the car. My legs are kicked out from under me until I told them that I was a deputy sheriff. And one guy says, I don't give a F who you are. As I became a man, a pastor, I've been stopped, had my hands on the hood of the car because they don't believe that I should be driving the car that I drive. I want this to stop along with our community. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you. My name is Dr. Eric Aguiar with the Los Angeles Brotherhood Crusade. I want to take a moment to speak not from politics, but from the lived experience and realities of communities across Los Angeles. Today's conversation about pretextual stops is not simply about policing. It's about awareness. It's about accountability and understanding the impact these interactions have on people of color, especially in over-policed communities. For many residents, particularly Black and brown, these encounters are not rare. They are routine, and over time, repeated experiences can shape how people view public safety, government, and their own place in society. More important than ever now, where do we fit in as humans? As someone who works closely with youth and families, I can tell you this: the issue is bigger than statistics. It affects trust. It affects mental health. It affects whether people are seen as community members or viewed as suspects first. And I can tell you this much: each and every one of you in this room would love to be viewed as community first. At the same time, we also recognize that public safety matters. Communities want to feel safe. Families want violence reduced. I understand that. I understand officers have hard jobs, but awareness means being honest enough to ask whether every interaction is helping build trust or damaging it. This moment gives Los Angeles an opportunity to lead with both safety and dignity. We can support community safety while also examining practices that may create long-term harm, fear, or disconnection between residents and institutions. When people believe they are respected, heard, and trusted fairly, public safety becomes something we can build together, not something that feels done to them. And I urge you all to stop the stops. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Leonora Ansaldúa. I'm a resident of District 8, and I know I don't look like the kind of person that normally talks about their experience with pretextual stops. But my dad is Mexican, and I grew up being pulled over as a child in the car with him and being terribly afraid that I might not make it back home with my dad. As an adult, I know the difference between when I drive and when I'm in the car with Black and brown men in my family. I've experienced this in a particularly unique way that gives me a different perspective than probably a lot of people. It's a serious issue, and the data show that pretextual stops do not actually reduce crime, as you all, I hope, know. You've read the reports. By contrast, they can escalate to violence. They often result in the violation of civil rights. And they result in ticketing of people, very often from low-income communities, who can't actually afford to pay these relatively minor fees for people of other communities. But in low-income communities, that ticket can mean the difference between medicine, housing, food for your family. It's really critical that we make policy change that creates a more equitable society for everybody living in our community. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kirk Connolly. I'm here in good faith for the Civil Rights Council to help us. I'm a pro se litigant in the Federal Civil Rights against the Los Angeles City, in the city of Los Angeles. I am here to answer the council and the city council meeting to direct the city attorney's office to stipulate a removal of a protective order seal, currently sealing my case. Transparency is a matter. We all need to see transparency in things that are happening. The city should not use taxpayer money and to cover up the evidence of police misconduct hidden behind administrative seals. I'm asking you to oversight and ensure that the truth will be seen and not suppressed. Please help me in this matter. I thank you.
Yes, good morning, Los Angeles. And if you're not from Los Angeles, good morning. My name is Brandon Atiliano. I want to label this speech called Speech, School, and Food. So I go to college and I grew up with, $5, $10 in my pocket for the burritos and the snacks, which is great. But a lot of universities, a lot of colleges, a lot of places, they don't get free cafeteria food. And I've been to other locations that offer nice hot meals, maybe at a work job place or at a community place. But if a community place has free hot meals, I think the students should deserve one free hot meal a day when they go to class. And if they don't show up to the school, then you don't get it, that's fine. We save it. Or you guys can figure out a multi-fixed rate income. Make it fun, like an app. But yes, thank you.
Hi. The last time I stood before you, I spoke about the broken windows policing and tough on crime era that unfairly targeted Black and brown Latinos. I also spoke about the young Black and brown community members that I work with. Some of them are actually just barely adults, and they've experienced pretextual stops while on the job. I don't think I was really able to share with you the effect those stops have on our community members. For them, it's not just an interaction. It's not just something that happens routinely. For them, it's moments where they have to think about what's gonna happen. One wrong move, one assumption, and it could change the course of their life. And that affects how they see policing afterwards. For them, I hear stories about how even just police being lined up in a local park, watching them while they talk to community members, creates a sense of fear and uneasiness. They're on the job. Last time I was here, someone also mentioned a statistic, something along the lines of pretextual stops having a 91% failure rate. And I keep wondering, how much harm is acceptable before this council decides to act? How many young Black and brown Angelenos have to be subjects of racial profiling before this body decides the cost is too high? Item 5 is your opportunity to show Angelenos that you understand the difference between public safety and over-policing. Most importantly, it shows that you're willing to do something about it. Thank you.
Ten un minuto, adelante.
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Ibe Muñoz. Soy del Distrito 8, número 5. El código postal es 90018.
Hello, good morning. My name is Ida Munoz, and my postal code is 90018, and I'm from the 8th District.
Sí, mi comentario es de que esto de los policías tienen que parar.
My comment is this matter about the police has to stop.
Solo nomás por nuestro color de piel, eso es injustamente. En unas ocasiones han parado a mi hermano por sin ninguna razón. Una vez, en una ocasión lo pararon porque diciéndole que empezaron a hacer preguntas sin ninguna razón, sin ninguna excusa. Lo pararon y le miraron las llantas de su carro, le dijeron que porque estaban gastadas y le dijeron que si él se dedicaba a hacer dones.
Perdón, señora, una pausa, por favor. I'm here to give a comment about the injustice of these stops, just because of our skin color, for no reason at all and with no excuses. They stopped my brother recently asking to take a look at his tires.
Y le dijo él que porque lo habían parado, le dijeron que era por eso.
y le dijeron que según era que porque él se dedicaba a hacer donas en las calles y mi hermano dijo que no, que solamente él se dedica a trabajar, ir a la escuela y a visitar a la novia.
And they told him that the reason that they stopped him was because of the tires, but he said, excuse me, interpreter error, they stopped him because of the tires and also because he was a street vendor selling donuts on the street when he said, all he's doing is trying to work.
Thank you. Speaker, your time has expired.
Gracias, señora oradora, se le venció su tiempo.
Espero y esto mejore.
I hope this continues to improve.
Thank you. My name is Chauncey Smith, and I'm here on behalf of an organization called Catalyst California, as well as the Push LA Coalition. I'm the former president of the City Task Force on Non-Law Enforcement Alternatives to Traffic Safety, and I'm currently a member of the State Advisory Board on Racial Identity Profiling. It's time to stop the stops in the city of Los Angeles. Data from Catalyst California show that Black people account for 8% of the city population, but comprise 31% of stops for minor traffic violations by the Los Angeles Police Department. This is a grave injustice, and it's time to stop the stops. On top of that, when these incidents occur, it's not uncommon for LAPD to search people for evidence of a crime. But you know what the data show about that?
General?
When the officers conduct these searches, especially ones that are highly discretionary, 9 times out of 10, they find no evidence of a crime. So it's not only the stops themselves, but it's the practices that happen during them that are extremely traumatizing, dehumanizing, and devastating for Black and brown communities. In addition to the data, if you look at the budget information, which we also analyzed, it shows that the city of Los Angeles, by paying for these racially biased and harmful traffic stops, annually waste over $77 million for things that are not only harmful to communities, but fail to improve community safety as well as traffic safety. And this at an all-time high when it comes to traffic fatalities. So I repeat the demand, please stop the stops. Thank you for the time.
So the pretextual stops need to end. They're just an excuse to harass Black and brown people for no reason whatsoever and subject them to more violence. And we're seeing this constantly with the LAPD. And it's time that they actually, this very important guardrail actually be put in. There's no reason why they should be stopping Black and brown people for basically no evidence whatsoever. It's just another excuse to harass them and such. I mean, that's what the LAPD does. And it's time that you actually put some kind of, something in there to stop them from doing that. So let's go on to general public comment.
Okay, you have 1 minute.
So, first of all, I just want to express concerns that yesterday the City Council introduced a motion that seems to be potentially designed to use the Supreme Court decision recently regarding voting rights as an excuse to mess up the progress that's been made with when it comes to independent redistricting and things like that. You know, you already have your own scandal that you had of working to gerrymander the districts in a racist way. So I hope that this is not, you're not going to use that as a mechanism to bring that back after the Independent Redistricting Commission was put in place. Fire Jim McDonnell. You have the power to do it. He's absolutely out of control. The whole department's out of control. The LAPD once again attacking protests and journalists, violating restraining orders, court injunctions. Fire him.
Next speaker.
I was first pulled over as a child on a bicycle. when police threatened and harassed me on my way home from school. My father was pulled over and harassed multiple times while my sister and I sat in the car, horrified that we might not survive. Within a few weeks of getting my driver's license, I was pulled over and sexually harassed. I was 16. This is not theoretical, it is lived experiences. It is literal lives stolen like Keenan Anderson, Dejan Kazee, Daniel Hernandez, Dante Wright, and so many more. Lives stolen by police. This is in honor of them. It is time to stop the stops, but also consensual searches. There is no such thing as a consensual search when it is a cop who has a badge and a gun and he can steal your life and your liberty. There is no consent under duress. These injustices represent lives stolen, tax dollars wasted, and more lawsuits that this city cannot afford. 500 new police is unacceptable.
General?
Stop the stops.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Laquan Hunt. I lead communications and brand strategy for the Social Justice Learning Institute. And most of my life, I've had the most positive perception of law enforcement, most specifically the LAPD. Through the years I spent at the academy playing basketball or at basketball practice, participating in the Vice Unit's alcohol and beverage control program, keeping tobacco and alcohol out of the hands of youth. But most importantly, because my role model, the man I look up to the most, wears that uniform. Yeah, my father's an officer of the LAPD. He puts on that uniform every day to protect the city, and I am proud of him for that. Now, traditionally, that's where that statement should end. However, there's a but. But I've been pulled over or stopped more than 40 times. 40 times. Not for speeding, not for reckless driving, for being black in Los Angeles, not for a broken taillight, not for tinted windows, for nothing. Do you know what it's like to call your father a sworn officer of this department and tell him you've been pulled over again?
General?
Do you know the silence on that phone? That painful, heavy silence that says, I know, son, and I wish I could fix it. That is the contradiction this city lives in. That is the wound that pretextual stops tear open every single day in black and brown families across the city, in families where someone wears the badge and someone fears it. The data is clear. Black Angelenos are stopped at nearly 44 times their share of the population. 90% of searches after these stops find nothing. Nothing. Just trauma, just another young man, another young woman, a child of color, at the side of the road wondering if they're going to make it home. These stops, these interactions aren't of the LAPD I got to know growing up. They're reflective of a much larger issue that we have the unique opportunity of addressing today after 7 years of discussion. My father taught me to respect the law. It's time for the city to respect us. Reform pretextual stops, not someday, now. Thank you.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, before we move on to the next speaker, I just want to say we appreciate everybody's patience. Obviously, it is a packed room. I just want to warn everybody, during the next speaker's public comment, we may hear things that are offensive. We do apologize. We continue to ask for your patience, and the fastest way is to just hold on. Do not disrupt me while I'm trying to address the room. This is your first and only formal warning. If you do it again, you'll be subject to removal pursuant to Rule 7 and Rule 12. The next speaker is a regular at this meeting. We are required to listen pursuant to the Brown Act, but you, the members of the audience, are not. So if you'd like to pop in your headphones, a pair of earplugs, feel free to do so. We will get through this, but we appreciate your patience, and please do not take the bait. With that, good morning. What would you like to speak to?
All the goddamn items and general comment.
So you have 3 minutes for the items and 1 minute for general. Please begin with the items. Go ahead.
So let us begin with number 7. Fuck number 7. Your MOU is absolutely corruption. Sitting there stealing from the people. No on number 7. Number 8, look at the goddamn Department of Water and Power, the goddamn MOU. Hugo Soto, Stalin Martinez raising rates again. He's responsible for this. The woman next to her, she's responsible for overeating. No on number 8. Now we get to number 6. The Glendale Hyperion Bridge Project. You need all of these people. No, you don't. This is just stealing. Under color of authority, just stealing. How much are their wages? Look at the agenda. Not listed because you'll pass it, And then Mayor Bass goes in the back room with Marchese and secretly sets the salary, and we never have public comment about it. It's called the Executive Relations Employee Committee. Google it. Now you see how they lie. Now let's get to the important shit today. Let's get to this text stop. I direct your attention to page 9, A1E. To allow mail-in tickets on your car. So under this ruse, they will be allowed, LAPD, to take a picture of your license plate anytime, day or night, in any place in the city, and mail you a ticket that you'll never receive in the mail. Then they add fines. Then they add administrative costs. Then they add interest. And this is the work of Heather Hutt. Heather Hutt is responsible for this. You talk about persecution? How many fucking tickets is this going to be? People are going to lose their cars under Section E. She wants a report back? Holy shit, did any of you guys read this, motherfucker? Look at this, how they slipped this shit in. It's like, well, we're going to...
Speaker, you've exhausted your 1 minute on item 5. You can continue with the other items if you'd like, or you can move to general public comment.
We'll just get to the goddamn general.
Right, you have 1 minute.
So now, under that E, report back for necessary steps to implement a mail-based notification system that would allow traffic violations by mail to the registered owner. So this is what they're really doing, is they're using this thing to hide this motherfucking thing. This is what Jim McDonald wanted. And Heather Hutt went right with it. So again, you vote for these motherfuckers, you get this motherfucking shit. And that's why they want you to be warned about what I'm going to say first. See, they want to warn you that I'm the only one who's going to tell you the fucking truth about this council. You're all under FBI investigation. There are 4 of you that might be subject to indictment if that fucking city attorney ever gets off his ass and that fucking DA ever gets off his ass. Nathan Hochman and U.S. Attorney Bill Asai, arrest all 15 of these council members today. Lock them up. Have a nice day.
Speaker, your time has expired. Next speaker.
Estoy aquí para apoyar a las paradas de la que están haciendo la policía.
I'm here in
en contra
support
de los
of the
latinos.
traffic stops that the police are doing against Latinos.
Y vengo por la protesta y injusto de saber y cómo agarrar a la comunidad de latinos nomás por racismo y separaciones de familias.
And I'm here to talk about the injustice in our community just for being Latinos.
Con hijos y ver el sufrimiento y el dolor de ver cómo ellos mismos ven y cómo se llevan a un ser querido.
And to talk about the suffering and the racism and the injustice that our kids witness just for the fact of being a Latino.
Digamos no al racismo y digamos sí a la unión y pensemos en el futuro de las familias y los niños separados.
Say no to racism, yes to unity, and let's think about the future of all the families separated.
Porque todos somos familia y tenemos hijos y es injusto ver que haya tanta enfermedad y estrés porque esos niños ven.
We are all family. We all have kids, and it is a sickness to see this and a stress to see for these kids to witness all of these injustices.
Y vengo para que todo esto pare porque sí, hay mucho sufrimiento en familias que no quieren salir por no ser separadas. Gracias.
I'm here to ask for the stop
Okay,
of this
tengo un minuto.
because there's a lot of
Eso es lo que
suffering for all
venimos.
of these stops.
Es lo que venimos a alzar la voz, toda la comunidad,
We're here to raise our voice, the entire community.
y somos una hermandad y
We're a
necesitamos su
sisterhood,
apoyo.
and we need your support.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Good morning, council members. My name is Lupita Martinez, Regional Policy Advocate with CHIRLA. Since 2019, the Push LA Coalition has consistently advocated for an end to pretextual police stops for minor traffic violations that we have witnessed time and time again continue to disproportionately Black and brown Angelenos and have life-changing impacts for immigrant Angelenos specifically. As I shared before, for immigrant communities, a minor traffic stop can lead to the deportation pipeline, pushing unnecessary contact with immigration enforcement, many times over issues that pose no threat to public safety. At a time when the federal administration continues to attack, target, and find ways to unlawfully detain immigrants, we are now seeing increased targeting of DACA recipients. Around 90 DACA holders deported and around 200 detained in detention centers right now. These realities make it even more urgent that local policies do not contribute.
General?
These realities make it even more urgent that local policies do not contribute to this pipeline. We urge you to support item five that can move us toward building community trust and a safer Los Angeles. Thank you. I yield my time.
Give an opportunity to one of my former colleagues, many of our former colleagues, who was the co-presenter of this motion 6 years ago. We are here today to hopefully bring it across the finish line. I just want to ask Councilmember Mike Bonin to share a few words with us before we begin. You still have fans. You still got it, Mike.
So good to be back. Thanks. I really was not expecting to speak. I just wanted to come and be a witness today to see this happen. And it's a little unusual for me to be here on this issue. I don't have lived experience with this issue. Right? I was a signatory to this motion, but I was a backup singer who often sang off key to the lead singer. It's important for people who don't have lived experience with this issue to care about this issue. You don't have to be the person most affected to care about whether government power is used fairly. Civil rights really only matter if we defend them consistently and if we defend them for everybody. I want to say a moment to white people, people who look like me, who took to the streets at the time we were putting this motion in. This motion was introduced in June of 2020, when hundreds of thousands of people were taking to the streets demanding that Black Lives Matter and demanding racial justice. And we're standing up and saying, we want big, big changes. A lot of people have stepped back from that when the issues get complicated and when the decisions get hard and complex. And it's important that we not shy from that. Part of the impetus for this motion was a statement that was put out in June of 2020 by the National Association of Transportation Planners, NACTO. And it talked about how as transportation planners, as transportation policymakers, as engineers, there's no such thing as neutrality. We're either working on policies that further racism or undo racism. And that statement, I just want to read a quick quote from it, because to me it was very powerful. It said, "It's past time for each of us to use our power to stamp out racism and injustice. Past time to take an anti-racist approach to all transportation decision-making, from funding and project prioritization to engagement, implementation and enforcement practices, to hiring, contracting, and procurement. It is past time to have the hard conversations about how to limit law enforcement's role in the management of public space. It is past time for each of us to do the work internally and externally to truly be drivers of progress towards the values and goals that we propose." So many of us who took to the streets to protest the murder of George Floyd have also taken to the streets or posted on social media about other incidents that have been viral. So many of those incidents began with traffic stops. They did not begin at that point. They began as something small, and then they escalated. Those incidents that shatter public trust, they didn't begin with violent crime calls. They began with equipment violations or investigative detentions, other minor encounters. And that's because every discretionary stop creates a chance for escalation. And if we can reduce the number of minor incidents, we reduce the risk of escalation, and we reduce the horrible incidents that we have all seen way, way too often. So, man, 6 years is a long time, although not by City Hall standards, I guess. I just want to end with a personal note to the council president. When I left the council in December of 2022, during the farewell thing, you were speaking and giving a tribute, and you were talking about work I had done that was unfinished, and the commitment on you and the part of others to get it done. It was a time at which, just a few weeks shy of that, a few weeks earlier, racism and my son were much in the news. And when you spoke, you said you were committed to continuing this work and that you wanted to get it done before my son had his driver's license. He's 12, so good job, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much, thank you so much, Councilmember Bonin, and thank you for being an ally on this issue. And, you know, I'll lead before I get into the meat of my comments with the side of this that is, you know, for me personal. You know, I pride myself on being a relatively skilled and talented statesperson and having a strong ability to sit across the table with people that disagree with me or have another set of ideas or another point of view on topics. On this issue, I haven't been able to do that, and not been able to do it well because it is so intensely personal. From the time I can remember riding in cars, I remember the concern about police officers of the adults in the car. And the idea that no matter what you were doing and no matter how much you stuck to the rules, you could be pulled over at any moment, and that interaction was not in your control. And you knew that the person you were engaged with had a deadly weapon and could escalate the situation. And even if you had a weapon with you, you were not likely to survive the encounter. That's a reality I grew up with, and then you see more young men and women born, and they get the same education I got, and then they get this, and then they get the same education and the same education and the same education. So a bunch of people in this room, a bunch of people in this horseshoe that have raised young men of color, and they either have had the talk already or are gonna have it. And they're gonna have to have it more than once or twice or 4 times or 5 times, unfortunately. The idea that we live in a society where a minor traffic infraction is responded to by the government with a confrontation from a government worker with a gun, I think is barbaric, it is beneath us, and it is wholly uncivilized for everybody. When it's targeted, it's a throwback to the founding of this country, when certain people did not have to be respected as human beings and could be treated as a threat, a criminal, or whatever else, or property, if that particular government worker decided the case. And so, you know, to the members that I haven't sat with as long as I should and debated the way that I should, that I have with other issues and engaged in the way, I want you to charge that to my heart and not to our relationship, and to charge that to the fact that it is just, as you've heard this morning, it is still to this day triggering that we go through this. And so we have a society where we enforce lots of rules tenant harassment, embezzlement, wage theft, tax evasion, illegal demolitions. We do all of those things. Those people never get confronted by a government worker with a gun. We never send a person with a gun to say, oh, you underpaid your workers. You took away their overtime pay. We don't do that. And the suggestion that we should do it would be immediately viewed as absurd. Well, it's just as absurd to do that to people who cross a double yellow line or who have a broken tail light or couldn't afford to pay their registration. So what we have before us does not do, I want to be clear with everybody, it does not do what I think should eventually be done. We've got a ways to get to from where we are to where we need to go, but this is a big down payment on moving us away from armed traffic enforcement altogether. What we see today is pretextual stops, which it's important to me to distinguish. Pretextual stops are not traffic enforcement. It is pretend traffic enforcement to achieve another task, to carry out an investigation, to manage the public space, to get people to move from one public space to another public space that someone has decided is more suitable to them. And every time it happens, every single time it happens, it erodes trust in the government altogether and in police departments in particular. Every time there is a stop, there's 50 conversations about it after it happens. The person who gets stopped, whether you know it or not, they tell everybody. And then those people tell people, and then those people tell other people. And so it erodes trust. And so before a person has ever even encountered a police officer, they have a story in their head about the role that police officers play in their lives. And folks, we see this more in South LA than than any other place in this city. And I'm happy to have the Deputy Chief Tingarides with us today, who's done as much as anybody to rebuild trust. The value of trust between the police department and the community is immeasurable. No amount of money can make it happen. No amount of rules can enforce it. It just happens or it doesn't happen. And the dividends that we receive when it happens are tremendous. The price we pay when we injure it, especially when we injure it over nothing, which 97% of these stops are nothing. When we injure trust over nothing, we create a situation where we can never get to a place that we have a community where the police act as our guardians and they help to build the community, and the community feels invested in their task in a holistic and complete way. What we have today, what it does is a few things. It directs the Board of Police Commissioners to look at this policy, and we put forward a few concepts. One is that we end pretextual stops. Two, that we reform the basis on which consensual stops are done. I want to thank folks in law enforcement. I don't want to name any names, but as we talk to officers on the beat and in our community and in other places, what they would tell us is the main incentive for these pretextual stops is a consensual search, that you'll say, okay, yes, you can look at my trunk. Well, there should be rules to when a consensual search is legal and when it happens and when LAPD officers, at least our officers, pursue such a search. And so this motion before us, along with an amendment that Mr. McCosker put forward, will give the Police Commission the tools to codify that and to provide training for LAPD officers to understand the new landscape and to understand what is permissible and what is not. We'll walk out of this room, and I think we have a majority of the council on this issue. We'll walk out of this room, and we'll be able to celebrate for a second, but we all got to make our way across the street to the Police Commission and make sure the commission makes it real And then we have to hold this council, the mayor, and the chief of police accountable to making sure it's real in the city of Los Angeles. And so to everybody that's been a part of this process, I'm so grateful to Catalyst California and Community Coalition and the Push LA Coalition, all the member organizations of that group who stayed on this for 6 years. I think you guys got a grant to work on it, and the grant ran out. City Hall took so long, but you all have stayed on it and are here today and have helped curate the stories and keep the issue in public view, even though the cameras went away from George Floyd and all the rest that happened. Councilmember Hernandez, who helped bring this through our committee process, along with Councilmember Blumenfield, and Councilmember McCosker, who played a key role, a quiet role, but I'll just say, and he'll know what I mean, we're not sitting here today without him and his intervention, and so thank you for that, Councilmember McCosker, and our Sharon So, who I still remember 6 years ago, the Zoom meeting where you told the police department to give us the data or else, in a way only Sharon So can do. That got us to the point where we could even count. These numbers that we have that show what happens as a result of pretextual stops, we wouldn't have without Sharon So and then Dr. Henry Flatt, who's with us today, calling the data, helping us identify what the financial cost, which is big on the city. The financial cost is big, but the social and moral cost is immeasurable. But we nailed down the cost that we could and the impact that we could, and so I want to thank all of them, and just say this to members. I know this is not necessarily an easy vote, but I assure you, with everything I have and every view of history that I have ever seen, this is one of those things that there will come a time when everyone will have been against this. And so today, I'm happy to say that this council is going to go on record not only being against pretextual stops, but ending it as we know it here in the city of Los Angeles. So thank you so much, everybody.